Hey guys, my name is Christina.
My name is Brian, and welcome to What the F*** Did I Just Watch?
Where every week we will be rolling a 26-face die that will determine the first letter of the movie we will watch this week.
The twist is that one of us, or both of us, have never seen the movie before.
So join us as we share our thoughts on the movie.
I mean, that's gonna be horrible, but yes, absolutely.
Have a few laughs.
Stop it. And discuss what the f*** we just watched. It doesn't have to be anything
I
cool,
really
Tina.
like that you do funny, though.
I know, but it's only if it happens. I don't think about it beforehand.
Okay, fine.
We're recording.
Oh, I did.
The wind up was too much.
I know, it really is. I feel like I paused too long and it wasn't going to be as impactful. Anyways.
Yep.
Here we go. What's up, what the fuckers?
Oh. God. I feel like that was a lot for anybody listening early in the morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good night.
Buenos días.
Sí.
Buenas tardes.
Okay.
Y buenas noches.
All right. Hello, Tina.
Hey, Pants, how's it going?
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Yeah. That's kind of how I'm feeling too.
Yes.
Buzz, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Pants has a lovely drawing on our board of
Facts.
Which, you know, I've said it before, Pants is an incredible artist.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't already seen his artwork, go check out the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
But
It's on its way.
but it's a little vomiting fly.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah, kind of looks like a light bug
Well,
with its big old booty.
Yeah, the extra ass was unintended. But
No, it's cute
You know.
though. We'll put it on Twitter so you guys can see it.
will we do that?
Pants will put it on Twitter so you guys can see it.
Okay. Just don't want anybody to get the wrong idea that you do anything but show up on Wednesdays.
Yeah, sure. Wow. Okay. Comments settling in now, registering. So if you haven't already seen the title and you were just going through your podcasts, we are embarking on The Fly, the 1986 classic.
Which is not
Which
Halloween
is-
3 Season of the Witch. Apologies.
False advertising for you guys.
Yes, that's not streaming, and we changed it last minute.
Yes. And I say classic very loosely.
I don't.
Yeah.
Very tight.
Okay. Because this movie was great until it wasn't. And that's how I feel about that.
Okay, that's it.
Pants. So talk to me a little bit about why this was on your list.
Well, I had maybe seen it one time, and I was very young, too young, I think, thinking back on it now, watching it again.
I feel like I'm too young to be watching this.
Okay, well, you just said you were loose, so I hope your dad's listening.
Oh my God.
And it was actually on sale on iTunes like 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that in a long time. And so I bought it, and then I added it to the list because I was like, it's an 80s movie. So, yeah. And I was actually very much looking forward to watching Halloween 3 this week.
Yeah, I was too.
But it was supposed to be, for those who care, I thought it was streaming on Shudder, which I have, and it is not, which is bullshit because the rest of them are. But I assume it's a rights issue, and I'm not going to spend $17 on a movie that is lackluster.
Sure.
But good in its own right. And we'll get there eventually. I'm sure it'll be on sale around Halloween.
Probably.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
That's when I got all the Friday the 13th movies from iTunes.
That makes sense.
They had a bundle for $13.
Wow.
Yeah. I did have to buy Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason separately.
But you like those.
Oh, they're amazing.
So
Classics.
you don't have a problem buying those.
Yeah. Refer back to our Jason
Classics.
X episode.
Well, so that you guys know, we kind of narrowed it down to The Thing and The Fly. I watched the trailers for both of them. And I really like Jeff Goldblum. So I was like, sure. That one looks a little bit better. It was still scary because they obviously show in the trailer a little bit of what he's going to look like. And that freaked me out quite a bit. But watching the movie and watching the trailer are two very different things because it gets a lot worse than you think it's going to.
And one's a lot longer.
And
so
yeah, one does take up an excessive amount of time. Yeah.
Also, the thing was also on sale on iTunes, so I bought it, added it to the list.
Well, I'm sure somewhere down the line we'll be watching that as well.
It's quite good.
Yeah.
Anyway, my initial thoughts, I guess, because I didn't really say anything when you asked. I quite enjoyed this movie. It is a classic, no matter what you say.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do, take some issues with it, but not really.
Sure.
They're just like little things that bug me.
I see what you did there, Pants.
Bugs.
I love those moments where like you crack yourself up.
Yeah, and everybody listening, all probably 35 now.
We lost listeners. What is going on?
I don't know. The holiday special hit us hard.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but yeah, no, it's a great movie. It's very disturbing to watch. Especially for like late 80s, like they really went all out as far as like practical effects go. And his transformation into a man fly is
a brundle fly.
A brundle fly, indeed. Is disturbing.
Yes.
And especially towards the end, it's just gross, but wonderful.
Sure.
It is a joy to watch.
Sure.
And just a feel-good movie all around.
Yeah, initially watching the movie, I knew it was going to get bad, but I was not hating it until I did. Oh. And I don't even think I hate it. It's just that it was pretty gross. So, yeah. It was also it was different. And I we can get into it during spoilers. But I think ultimately I walked away just kind of feeling a little uneasy and my stomach turning.
Well, it did its job, is what I would say.
Indeed.
Indeed. So, as you did mention, this was released in 1986. I think you mentioned that at least. I don't know. We'll say you did.
I did.
It was directed by David Cronenberg, and it is starring Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, and John Getz.
The budget for this film was $15 million. It grossed in the U.S. and Canada $40.4 million. And are you ready for this?
Dicks.
Whoa. Wow.
God, I hope your dad's not listening.
That is not what I said. I hope you're ready for this. IMDb has it rated as a 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 93%, with an audience score of 83%. As Pants originally said, it is not streaming anywhere. You do have to buy it.
Yeah, it's $4.99 on iTunes right now.
Cannot believe the score on this movie. But you know what? I just have to kind of group it into that this is kind of one of those like also cult classics where you either really like it or you walked away indifferent.
And you really liked it, is what we're hearing.
I seriously think that
Loved
you need
it.
to go see.
Tell me. Who do I need to see?
A psychiatrist, a therapist, a life coach.
I do, and I don't believe in those.
Life coach.
Yeah.
I didn't really think that was a thing, but it absolutely is.
Yeah, people make money on that shit. I could be a life coach. I give great advice, and I'm right all the time.
Wow.
So.
All of that you just heard is false. Anyways, Pants, would you like to hear the synopsis?
I guess, Tina. I know the synopsis.
Oh, would you like to read it then?
No, I don't have it in front of me. I just know it.
Oh, go ahead. You know it, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. A scientist
okay.
is working on a teleportation system.
Okay.
And decides to test it on himself, and there is a fly in there with him. Uh-oh. And he comes out the other side, and he's like, I'm fine. He's not. He is Brundlefly. And this is the fly.
And this is the fly. That was great. You know, that's almost verbatim what the synopsis is.
Great. So I don't even think we need to hear you read it.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. Well, here's the trailer.
I think you're making a mistake. I think you really want to talk to me.
Sorry, I have 3 other interviews to do before this party's over.
Yeah, but they're not working on something that'll change the world as we know it.
They say they are.
Yeah, but they're lying.
There is a limit, even to the imagination.
Human teleportation, molecular decimation, breakdown, and reformation is inherently purging.
Where our greatest creations meet our deepest fears.
Something went wrong, Seth. When you went through, something went wrong.
You are about to go beyond that limit.
Those weird hairs that were growing out of your back, I had them analyzed. But they were definitely not human.
If you saw how scared and angry and desperate he is.
I'm sure Typhoid Mary was a very nice person, too, when you saw her socially.
No!
You're afraid to be destroyed and recreated, aren't you?
You're changing, Seth. Everything about you is changing.
Oh, no. What's happening to me? Am I dying?
I want to know what's going on.
What does the disease want?
It wants to turn me into something else.
Oh, no.
A fly got into the transmitter pod with me that first time when I was alone.
Don't go back to it. It could be contagious.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
So yeah, that's exactly what I just said the synopsis was.
I have a hard time with them calling it a disease.
Well, they didn't know.
That the fly was in there?
No, not until later when she got the little hairs inspected.
Sure, but I think that at the end, not to jump there, but there's a conversation where she says, what does it want? Like, what does the disease want? And he's already kind of like deformed and things. And that's when he has that conversation. So by that point, they know that he is
well, maybe by
reaching
that
his
point,
dreams of becoming a
Brundlefly.
Brundlefly.
I mean, by that time, maybe she's just talking about like what the disease wants. Like, what does that part of
You want?
him want? Yeah, from the rest
Sure.
of him. I don't really know how to explain that, but it
Yeah.
makes sense in my brain.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure. Anyway, yeah, what? No, please, by all means.
I love cutting you off.
Yeah, I
I
know.
also have a problem with the very beginning of this movie
course you
being
do.
taking her to his lab that is in a very sketchy looking area. And she has absolutely no problem following this man into a warehouse that, you don't know this man from Adam.
Well, his name is Seth. But yeah, I did also. I was thinking like, wow, that escalated really quickly. Like, there's a 3 to 5 minute scene at the beginning where they're talking at this conference, and then she's in his lab.
Yeah.
And I thought she made it pretty clear that she was a reporter, and that's what she was doing. But I think he just thought he was getting laid or
Maybe he just
showing
really
off
wanted
his
to-
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
And is all like pissed off when she's like, no, this is like on the record.
Yeah, I'm a
So.
journalist. I thought you understood.
Yeah. So
Who invites a journalist back to their lair?
it's Jeff
Where
Goldblum.
for real, where they're doing, secret experimentations that they want no one to know about.
Well, he thought he was going to get laid.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So his whole thing is he's kind of like contracted through this bigger company to do experiments, and they just like push money at him, I guess, to do his own thing.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like all big companies, whatever he comes up with, they own the rights to.
Yes.
So he's trying to come up with a teleportation system because he gets motion sickness, like that's a thing that he mentions, and I guess that's his reasoning, because like being in cars, trains, and whatever, he gets bad motion sickness.
Right.
So I guess that's his weird reasoning.
He's a weird dude.
He is in everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Eccentric, if you would.
I would. I I also think that they had zero chemistry as like an on-screen couple.
Yeah.
Like for the brief time that they were actually like a couple, I did not see it.
But it also happened very fast.
I know, but like sometimes you just kind of like it. There's like a click in like the two actors themselves.
Sure.
Like, I mean, they worked good together, but as like a romantic thing,
Right. I
just
would have seen them
didn't
more as like
see it.
really good friends or something like that.
Yeah.
But trying to make them romantic did feel forced.
I honestly don't. I don't know what kind of woman I could see Jeff Goldblum with, where I would be like, chemistry, because he's just really out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You'd
I mean,
either
he's
have to
married,
have, like-
so I mean, there's something there somewhere. But
Wow, you're... He's weird, but he deserves love.
he does. I'm not saying he doesn't.
I love Jeff
He's a
Goldblum
fly
in
man.
the sense that, like, I would love to sit down and just talk with him.
I wouldn't.
Because of the way he speaks.
I would not
and
at
his
all.
perception of the world.
I hate it.
think it's super entertaining. He has that show on Disney Plus.
And I hate that show.
And I know you don't like that show, but I really enjoy watching it.
It's
I think he just has a really cool energy about him.
like it's good in like little like interviews. Like I've seen
Sure.
it whenever he was doing Jurassic World stuff and doing the interview circuit that
God,
way.
he was so good in that.
And he was in there for like 10 minutes, maybe.
Well, sorry. He was in
Oh,
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. But I mean, seeing like, because he kind of had this like resurgence like in the last 5 years or so. And, you know, he was doing like the talk show circuit and whatever. And Stefan really likes him. And he's funny to watch in interviews because it's quick.
Mm-hmm.
But we sat down to watch his Disney Plus show, and it was so grating for me. Like, it's funny for a little bit, and I'm like, this cannot be a whole series of
Yeah.
him just talking about
It is.
shoes or whatever.
A lot of people appreciate him.
I mean, I appreciate what he does, but I will just read the Cliff Notes later.
Ah, indeed.
Yeah. So anyway, they didn't have chemistry, and let's see.
But are you in agreement that that relationship took place like way too quickly? It's also kind of hard to gauge time because there's a lot going on, but I feel like a lot of that happens within like a 48, 72 hour period because it's kind of consecutive.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something, but like they went from acquaintances to lovers like very quickly.
Well, he just has that effect on women.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he has the same outfit every day so that he
does.
doesn't have to expend any thought on it.
Yeah. Good for him.
Which I think is actually, like,
So do I, really.
low-key kind of smart, but I don't know that I could do that.
Well, I think it's all really quick, and then later on in the movie, there's like a 4-week jump that's very quickly mentioned. Like something.
Maybe I missed that.
There at some point, we'll get to it because I do have it written down, but there was like a 4 or 5 week jump that they very quickly gloss over.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, whatever. But anyway, so he explains that these two pods on either side of the room, they can teleport inanimate objects. So nothing organic. So she takes off one of her pantyhose.
Which
and
was so
I was,
weird.
I was like, okay, y'all are here for the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Like, I saw her take off her shoe, and I was like, well, what happens if your shoe, like, blows up? Then you're only going to be walking in one heel, and then she reaches higher, and I'm like, she's not taking off her underwear. She shouldn't have to take off her shoe for that. Nope, she removes her pantyhose. Mm-hmm. Okay, girl.
yeah. It was like, calm down, Gina. But yeah, he transports that from one to the other, and then kind of explains that the teleportation is just like the computer reinterpreting the item in the first pod. I think he actually explains that when they do it with steaks. He sends a steak from one pod to the other and then cooks it, and then cooks her a steak that hasn't been teleported. And she likes the not teleported one better, says the other one tastes plain or synthetic. Yeah. And that's when he's like, oh, so it's reinterpreting what is in the first pod and then making it in the second pod. So it's just like a plain version, I guess.
Yeah. He's got to talk to it about the skin, because the flesh makes you crazy.
It does. And also there was an inside out monkey.
Yeah, the whole scene with the baboon was not okay.
Yeah.
I have a real problem with animal cruelty. I'm way too empathetic for that. But an 86 film trying to translate that was horrific. Like, it made me queasy. It was so uncomfortable. I mean, it is literally like no flesh. It's just like guts, innards, and this monkey is screaming, or the baboon is screaming in the pod. It was horrific. I almost texted you and like, you did not warn me. We have an agreement.
Well, because again, I had not seen this in forever. But just for the record, no animals or baboons were harmed in the making of this movie.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Flies, maybe, but who gives a shit? But yeah, so the scene was he's trying to work with the computer to be able to transport living things.
Right.
So his first thing, I feel like he like went from 0 to 60. Like he just started with a baboon, instead of like working his way up to it. But okay. So anyway, puts baboon in pod 1, zaps it, and in pod 2, it's laying on the ground, like withering and screaming, and it's inside out, and it's pretty graphic.
It really was.
So that, didn't work. So he also has baboon number 2,
which is the brother.
Which is the brother, yeah. Which a little bit later works. So it is transported from 1 to 2, and he looked really cute with the monkey, because it just like hopped in its arms.
Yeah,
and I was
that
like,
was
oh,
cute.
Look at you. I also thought it was really funny that the baboon was like really annoyed by the fly. I just thought the image of, because Goldblum is working on getting into the pod himself, and the baboon just kind of sitting there, and there's like a fly buzzing around him, and he's just really annoyed.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's...
Mind you that Jeff decided to do this while he was inebriated and emotional, which further solidifies that you should never do anything or make any big decisions when you're emotionally heightened.
Unless a big company is paying you to run experiments.
Nope.
You might as well go for gold.
That's what he did.
Yeah. Gold bloom.
Gold did not bloom.
I think he did at the end.
Yeah, I guess he did bloom into a brundlefly.
I think it was just a fly at the end.
It was still brundle.
I think the whole process is brundlefly, and then at the end he's just big fly.
Yeah, it was just disturbing all around.
Yeah, so he does get in to the pod. He's in his apartment lab by himself. Gina, her name's not Gina, Veronica, played by Gina Davis, is not there, and it's just him and the monkey and a fly, and he gets in there naked, which I guess makes sense.
Sure, he was drunk. He's a scientist. He didn't want to have to worry about his clothes.
Why? No, I don't think it makes sense. I think I'm wrong. The pantyhose went through. Why can't his clothes go through?
That's what I'm saying. He's probably just a scientist and emotional and was like, let's do this without clothes so it doesn't have to think too hard. I don't know. Pants.
Okay.
It's neither here nor there. Either way, it failed.
Not here or there because his clothes were gone.
Get out of here.
So, anyway, we see a little fly on the little window inside the little pod, and they both go through, and he comes out, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Then they have sex a lot.
Yeah, that was really strange. Like, she comes home and they kind of talk about what happened. And I don't think it's immediate because I think he was tired. He like slept for the day or something. I don't know. I'm not going to focus on that too much.
He like wakes up because there's a fly buzzing around him and he just like catches it.
But that's later, right?
No, that's like the first sign that something's different with him.
Oh yeah, sorry. I mean like post making himself go through the teleportation device and she's coming home.
Right.
He like had slept for a really long time, which I don't blame him. His body was going through a lot. And then he just starts kind of changing. And I think
doing a lot of gymnastics.
The moment I knew that this was going to be really hard for me to watch was when he pulled his nail like out of the nail bed.
Okay, but that's like a little, you're jumping a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah, because he goes through like all the working out.
Oh, you're totally right. I'm so sorry.
He's doing like gymnastics off of these bars that are conveniently
that was cool.
placed. And sure.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, he has like a whole like
and how does he know that that's going to hold his weight? He's putting a lot of, I mean, he does this thing where he's holding a bar and he flips around it and like runs on his ceiling.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does all that stuff, catches the fly out of his sleep. She finds it super attractive and then they like make love into the night. Indeed. He starts getting little prickly coarse hairs coming out of a wound in his back. Taking a lot of sugar with his coffee.
Oh my god, that was so gross. And then his face starts kind of just like forming like these dark patches.
Like blemishes. Yeah. I was, I think, most disturbed by all of their open eye kissing. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Now that you're saying it.
Because she did it, and I was like, that's weird. But then when he started kissing her, his eyes were just like wide open.
Yeah.
And I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Do flies kiss with their eyes open?
That would be so... I've never even really thought about that.
About flies kissing?
No, about like looking at each other while you kiss. Like, it's just so weird. Yeah, that whole scene just unfolds or his whole development into the fly unfolds so quickly. And he just becomes this like... He becomes obsessive and aggressive about creating like the ultimate human. Like he feels that it has enlightened him and made him like stronger, or like just a generally better human as far as abilities and strengths and things
Captain
like
America.
that. Yeah, sure, that's a good comparison.
And Jeff Goldblum should be Captain America. But yeah, he like really wants her to go through and she doesn't want to, and he gets a bit aggressive. Ends up like storming out and going to a bar and arm wrestles this guy.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And just like snaps his wrist in half. And it's pretty graphic.
Yeah.
Like it's tendon just
I can't believe that like they were just arm wrestling and then he took it to a whole nother level and literally just like popped his, like they show it.
Mm-hmm.
And
they show everything.
It's so gross.
But yeah, he picks up a chick at this bar and brings her back to his lab. And I guess he goes through again.
Well, I thought it was really funny. I have to tell. Yeah, he shows her and he like does the party trick. But I thought it was really funny because I guess he's on like the top floor or something like that. Mm-hmm. So they're like trying to go up the stairs and he's obviously feeling really elite. Mm-hmm. And so he's just, come on, let's go, whatever. And she's super drunk. Like you can tell that this is a no consent party. And so she's saying that she doesn't think she can make it. And he picks her up and he says, "There, don't you feel elevated?" Like, I forget what she said. There's no elevator in this place. Yeah. And he picks her up and is like, "There, don't you feel elevated?" And then proceeds to, like, run with her up these stairs. Like,
and the whole time she's, like, making these, like, ooh and ah noises, like, that kind of sound sexual. But it's just very off-putting. So, yeah, this is when Veronica comes back to the lab, finds him with the girl, with the other woman,
Right.
and says like, those hairs that I shaved out of your back, the coarse ones, I had them analyzed by a lab and they're not human.
Yeah.
And that they're insect hairs.
Uh-huh.
So she leaves. They all leave, or he stays, but the girls leave. And he then goes into the bathroom and tries shaving because he's getting these little insect hairs on his face as well, and like sprouting like from his nose and just like randomly. And he's not able to shave them off.
Right, they're super coarse.
Right. And so he just like throws his razor and breaks it and throws a little fit, and then he bites his fingernail off.
That was so gross.
And yeah, it's like a really slow, like he bites one off and then he like slowly pulls another one off. And I guess he noticed like his fingernail bed is like swollen afterwards or something, and he squeezes it and it just like squirts on his mirror. And
just infection and
it was
pretty gross.
Yeah, it was like one of those pimple popper videos.
Yeah, and I enjoy those, but
I do
that
as well.
particularly was like not satisfying.
I'm sorry you weren't satisfied.
Also, if you've ever banged your nail against something or even had maybe like a splinter go up your nail or whatever the case may be, that is insanely painful. And so,
have you had a splinter go underneath your nail?
Oh yeah. Oh, you never had that?
No, that sounds like a nightmare.
Well, now I feel like I'm not normal. Anyways,
You're
it's
not.
happened to me before. Shut up. And so just watching him pull the nail out of the bed.
That's so gross.
It's very painful, pants. It really is. It was.
I hate this.
Oh, it was so horrible. It was so horrible. That little things like that, especially like physical pain.
Sorry.
Yeah. Made me
Wow.
queasy.
So sorry. Speaking of queasy,
Okay.
we're not there yet, but he throws up later. This is when there's like a 4-week jump.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what you meant earlier. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. But their relationship itself,
Right.
I feel like happened within the span of like a week.
Sure. But yeah, she casually mentions, something happening 4 weeks ago or whatever. She's talking with her ex, who is also her boss.
A class A douchebag that she continues to look to for help.
Yes. His name is Stathis. And if that's not an elitist white name, I don't know what is.
He's a total douchebag.
He is.
He like has a key to her place because of, they used to date. He takes advantage of her. You can already see that this is a very like toxic even friendship. I can't believe she still works for him, and she goes to him on multiple occasions for advice and help. This man clearly does not need to be, I mean, she obviously has a problem picking dudes because it was Brundlefly or douchebag. But good Lord. Yeah, so you were talking about that 4-week gap, and she goes to see him, and he looks bad.
He's using a cane in each hand to walk, and he just comes like hobbling around the corner, and like the blemishes that were on his face are now like whelps. Yeah, and they're like tumors.
Yeah,
almost.
his entire face is just totally deformed.
Yeah, bulbous is the word I wrote down. It's a good one.
And then she hugs him.
Yeah, she does.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And when he starts kind of explaining what happened, because by this time he's run the test. He knows it's just like a house fly that got in there with him.
Right.
And one of his lines to her when explaining what happened was that the machine mated us and we hadn't even been properly introduced.
Yeah, he's like very strange throughout the entire movie, which she finds endearing.
Yeah.
But I find...
I have to believe that's him in real life. Like, not that like aggressive, but like he kind of always plays eccentric.
Yeah.
And that's what I also get from like his interviews.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's why he was such a good choice for this movie, because that role in itself needed to be weird for it to deliver.
yeah. I looked up who was also considered for that, and I don't remember any of them, and I didn't write them down. But I know that the studio didn't want him originally because they didn't see him as like leading man material.
Right.
Which I honestly don't either. I think he's fine. Like, he's a good actor, but I really see him as like a secondary or like supporting role.
Yeah.
Not something that'll carry a whole movie.
Sure.
But I mean, he did good in this, but he was also like transforming into an insect.
Right. And it's the whole chemistry thing too, like you were saying before. Something always felt a little off about the movie.
Yeah. Then he proceeds to vomit on a donut and follows it up with just like making eye contact with her and being like, well, that was disgusting. And I guess he goes to scratch or touch his ear and it falls off.
Yeah.
So also disgusting, but like really cool, like effect wise.
Yeah.
It was really like, I mean, realistic. Yeah. But that's not what I was going for. But anyway, it looked really good.
Yeah.
But,
it was interesting, but really gross to watch the deterioration of what was once human turn into Brundlefly, turn into fly.
Fly.
So she goes to Stathis to talk to him about what's going on. She's super distraught, but she doesn't know what to do, which again, why are you going to this man? And he makes a comment about, like, did you set it up so that I can claim your body? Like, when you ultimately die because this situation's crazy. And then he, like, has this moment where the camera looks at him and he's not really making eye contact with her. It looks like he's, like gazing off into space because he's in his head. And he smiles. That was so disturbing to me. Like, he was thinking about, like, do I have rights to your body? Smirk. Like, what the
because it's sexy.
It's really, really not. It's really, really not.
He's a body inspector.
And I think that he tells her, you know, like, let me see it and then I can help you. So she returns to Brundlefly. And he, at this point, is like climbing walls. He's completely lost
Spider-Man
his mind. I think this is also where he started talking about, oh, maybe not. No, not yet. Never mind. But he tells her to film him because he thinks that if anything, it'll be an educational video on how he eats. And he proceeds to regurgitate again and talk about how his mouth has become useless. And like, you can tell, like, his teeth have been falling out. He still has a few, but very little. And they're jagged. And so he's like, so just like a fly, I have to regurgitate on my food and then slurp it up. So gross.
Vomit drop is what he coined it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So gross. So very disturbing.
Yeah. He's, by this time his teeth are, you know, he's actively losing teeth and keeping them in like a museum for himself.
Yeah, he has them in like his, you know, everybody has, well, not everybody, but some bathrooms have the medicine cabinet that's a mirror. And when you open his, he has a bunch of his different like body parts. I shouldn't say body parts, pieces of flesh, including like his ears and his teeth and fingernails.
What? Okay.
In
So
containers.
I didn't rewind or pause to look, but it looked like he had his dick in a jar.
Shut up.
I'm just saying, one of those items looked real phallic.
I don't know. I'm probably never going to watch it again. So
Well,
you can look for that
maybe.
if you like.
But he's losing his hair. His teeth are coming out. This is when he does coin the phrase Brundlefly, as well as vomit drop.
Yep.
And then we get the reveal that Ronnie is pregnant.
Yep.
And there's a whole scene which in hindsight makes sense, but when watching it for the first time seems very rushed.
Right.
Because they're going into the hospital and it's minutes after us realizing, that she's pregnant and she's giving birth, and it's like a huge like larvae.
Yeah.
Larvae?
I thought, like a pupa?
Pupa. There you go.
Yeah.
That's better.
Or is it pupae?
I don't know.
Either way, I thought that even in that moment that they were doing like an abortion. Was that her giving birth, or was that them performing an abortion and her like ejecting it from her body?
I wasn't sure either.
Yeah,
I thought
I
they
mean-
were talking about an abortion, but
It was
I don't
just
know.
so quick and so choppy. Like, that was another problem with this movie, is that, like, the
it
key
turned out to be a dream.
information that you... Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, key information that you need was often, like, quickly said, and then you had to keep up with it, or you were going to be kind of confused.
yeah.
But yes, just like Pants said, she wakes up in a, like, you know... What is that?
Flustered?
No.
Panic.
Sure. Panic sweat. Like, what is it called when you have...
Cold sweat.
Okay, yeah. She wakes up from a nightmare, like, just drenched in, sweat. And so it was only just a dream.
Yeah. Obviously, they weren't in Texas. Because that wouldn't fly.
Whoa! Anyways. So weird. At least not anymore. Okay, so unless...
Texas.
Listen, people, I just want to let you know that if you belong to... What is it? I'm so good at telling stories. If you belong to the Satanic Temple...
Oh, yeah.
There is a loophole in which you can still do that. So dedicate...
Well, I think they're trying to get there, right? Like, they're trying to fight it.
No, because it's the third commandment. You can't mess with their religion.
Huh.
So it is a loophole right now.
Well, we're also
I don't
supposed
know
to have
how.
separation of church and state, but here we are.
I mean...
They're just fucking at this point.
God, yeah. I really need for people to stop trying to control people's bodies. Specifically women.
Yeah, well, I need for
And you women out there that are doing that,
the
shame on you.
Texas government just go fuck itself
Agreed.
and get pregnant and keep that shit.
Or if we're going to do that, then we need to reform our foster care system, because fuck you. Those
yeah.
kids have it so bad. Anyways, that's not why we're here. So,
Could be. What the fuck did I just watch on the news? Texas.
oh,
Spin-off material.
good job, Pants.
15 listeners.
We just offended half of our listeners.
I think those people are gone by now.
That's
fine.
true. That's true. Yeah, but his whole like body is like continuously changing. You think it's really bad, and then it just continues to get worse. It's really, really creepy. His voice is even changing because his computer doesn't recognize it anymore.
Yeah. He's twitching a lot.
He's so gross.
Yeah.
And so I know that she goes to visit him, kind of to try and tell him that she's pregnant. And that whole conversation is the most bizarre, uncomfortable conversation I have ever, like... Can't handle you! He talks about how, like, he wants to be the first insect politician, and he has, like, this whole, like, 2-minute, like, soapbox about it. It's so weird.
Just wait for 2016. So.
And then it kind of ends with him saying that she needs to leave because he'll hurt her if she stays. Which she is extremely upset about. Stathis is outside waiting for her, and she just says, we need to get the hell out. It turns out that Brundlefly is on the roof listening. But I don't know what kind of pull she has as a journalist, or he as her boss, to have a midnight abortion, but they're getting it done.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I assume he, just has favors that he can call in to certain people. But yeah, they go to do this, and Brundlefly swoops in, like, through a window and grabs her and takes her back to his lab. And Stathis, also ends up back there.
Trying to rescue Ronnie.
Right. And he has a shotgun, I guess.
Sure.
And Seth proceeds to vomit drop on Stathis's hand.
Yeah, that was...
And it just starts, because it's acidic,
Right.
and it just starts disintegrating,
like,
his whole
melting
hand
away.
down to, like, his wrist bone. And then he does the same thing to his ankle.
And then pulls his foot off.
Yeah.
That was so weird, Pants.
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
he was, I guess, about to do it to his face, and then she stopped him.
she stopped him.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if he was going to eat him.
You know,
It looked like it at one
I
point.
think that at one point in time, because the fly was taking over pretty severely, that is absolutely where that might have gone. But I'd like to go back just a hair and say that I had absolutely no warning on how disgusting that scene was going to be. Just watching the enzymes kind of break down his hand. Great job to the studio who created that effect, because it was gross. It was like lumpy, and then it just kind of like melted, kind of like your molten lava cake at Chili's. Haha, I ruined that for a lot of you. And it was so freaking gross.
We're never going to get Chili's as a sponsor.
Oh my god, it was terrible. Molten cake's really good, but it was so gross. And then the ankle part, they like kept showing like little frames of Stathis's face of like him just being in excruciating pain, which was a little comical to me because of his acting, because he's like it could go either way at that point.
No one knows what you're talking about because they can't see your face.
Well, you can.
Okay. You're not missing much, everybody.
And then he just like lifts his foot because it has completely gone down his ankle. And then he sits
all
over his
gooey.
face and he's about to like, I think it was the white. Like the red was really disturbing to me too, but like just suddenly seeing like white, like the bone was like melt. That was horrific.
Bone broth.
Also, by this point, like he is incredibly deformed. Like, I mean, he just has like just these, exactly like Pants said, almost like tumor-like all over his body and his face. His skin is almost like a
Black.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's almost like a maroon, but still has like the undertone of maybe being flesh at one point in time. And I'm literally like thinking like, why hasn't this man sprouted wings at this point? Or like, this is just so disturbing. And then I don't know why I ever said that, because his face just open. What happens?
Wait, you're skipping a big part.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can cut and paste me.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, well
It's
then
so
I'll
much
just shut
work.
up. Go ahead.
So Ronnie stops him from vomiting on Stathis's face.
Correct.
And I guess Stathis is knocked out by this point, or from pain, whatever. So he tells Ronnie that he's like recalibrated the machine.
Oh yeah.
The computer he's added in the third pod, which was like the prototype pod introduced in the beginning of the movie. So now we have 3 active ones, and he wants to put himself in one, Ronnie, who is pregnant, in the other, and then in the third they will be fused together to be the perfect family unit.
Which is what
it
the
will
hell?
be Brundlefly plus Brundlefly Jr. and Ronnie, all in one form, one body.
You just said Brundlefly Jr.
We don't know its name. I didn't watch the sequel.
Is there a sequel?
There is a sequel.
Does it like immediately continue after this?
Yeah, it's about the kid. Wow. Yeah, I think she dies in the beginning, probably like childbirth or something. None of the original people are in it. But it's about the kid trying to escape like experimentation from this company that Brundle works for.
Oh, that owns him.
Yeah. So yeah,
Is he fly?
I don't know. I've never seen it. I mean, he has that DNA in him, so there's something up with him, but I've never seen it.
Oh, okay.
So it has like 43% Rotten Tomatoes, I think.
Huh.
But anyway, so he ends up getting Ronnie in the pod and himself in a pod, but Stathis comes back and with the shotgun shoots some of the wiring.
Well, even before that, so I was right, ass. Before he knocks her into the pod, she tries to stop him and like removes his jaw on accident. And that's when he starts opening up and he literally turns into this ginormous fly.
mean, I was still right because you skipped the whole part about them being one unit.
Whatever.
So
Jerk.
whatever.
But so good at this.
He his face falls apart and a fly emerges and he gets little like extremities and
so gross.
it's really not as like disgusting at that point. Then I'm just like, that's a big
bug.
Ass
fly.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like walking to the pod and I'm like, okay, so whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think pods. I don't think flies like have thumbs, so I don't know how he's closing the door, but
I don't know
that's
either.
neither here nor there. So yeah, Stathis busts the wiring and
only on Ronnie's pod.
Yeah, so they're able to get her out, sorry. And Seth is still in fly form in his pod, and he ends up being disintegrated.
Trying to come out of the pod, he breaks the glass open, confusing the pod.
Mm-hmm. Ends up...
it said like Brundlefly and teleportation device like it doesn't say that, but it says whatever it's called. Fusion successful.
Right.
And then the door opens, and then Brundlefly is now also part machine.
Okay, so that's what it was. Because I read that on the computer screen, and I was like, does that mean that he has teleport or pod in him?
Yeah, that's what I thought, because
then the thing's coming out of his back.
Yep.
I was like, is that supposed to be wings, or is he... No, he's machine.
He's part machine.
So now he's a transformer. That should have been the sequel.
A fly transformer.
Yeah. Brundlefly Prime.
Brundlefly Prime. Oh, Vance. You need to coin all these phrases.
Coined. Yeah.
All I know, it was disturbing as hell. So Ronnie at this point doesn't really know if Brundlefly Pod is good or bad.
Brundlefly Prime. We just established this.
I like Brundlefly.
Brundlefly
Pod better. We could do Brundlefly Pod Prime. That's way too long.
Yeah.
So anyways, BF.
No, don't even.
Okay, so anyways, he comes out of the pod. He no longer has legs because it's all machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird. It's like tubing and wiring and like stuff's coming out of his back. You get the picture. Or if you don't, just Google it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like crawling towards Ronnie. And I think at this point, Stathis is also like a little bit more lucid. And he's like, telling her to shoot it. And so she has her shotgun ready, but then she decides against it because it's a very emotional thing. She loved, Brundlefly.
Mm-hmm.
And so he grabs the shotgun with his little insect hand and puts it on his head, which was
his insect head.
So sad.
Yeah.
And Ronnie, again, is saying she can't do it or whatever. But she does it.
Yeah.
And
just explodes his head.
It explodes his head, and the movie pretty much ends with her screaming.
Yeah.
And I was like, but she hasn't even had her procedure yet. This is such an eventful night for her. And then this is such an eventful night for her. And then the credits start, and I'm like, wait. What happened to the baby? Is this a pupae? Is this a human? Are we gonna find out about it? Do you need me to back up because you're looking at it?
No, you're good.
Okay. It was such an abrupt way to end.
It was
the tale of Brundlefly Prime.
Indeed.
So I guess now we know that there was a sequel, and
there is. And this was, I don't know if you knew, but this is actually a remake of a 50s movie.
Yeah, I actually saw that because when I originally went to go find this, the original popped up first.
I've not seen the original.
Neither have I. But it would be interesting to see the difference in especially special effects.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know, how the story is in the one in the 50s. Because, it can't, I highly doubt it's teleportation.
Sure.
Because, they're like, oh my God, we have a wheel. They're still excited
What
about
is wrong with you?
I'm pretty sure the Bible was just written.
That's when homophobia popped up in the Bible.
Speaking of homophobia.
Where is this going?
So I thought it was interesting that when the movie came out, a lot of people took it as a metaphor for the AIDS epidemic. So I have this little excerpt I got from the internet that said David Cronenberg often has stated that he doesn't see the film as a horror movie so much as a metaphor for the aging process and terminal disease, and how dehumanizing the toll on the human body is to the person experiencing it and those close around them. Some people have also claimed that it's also a metaphor for AIDS, and while Cronenberg has said he did not intend that to be, he's fine if people conclude that from his film.
Interesting.
So just like the skin lesions and just like how it takes over and consumes you, I guess. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. There was a couple sequences that were filmed but cut from the final release. One of them included Brundle sending a cat and the surviving baboon through the telepods, resulting in a mutated creature he beats to death with a pipe.
I'm so glad that got cut.
Indeed.
What the hell?
A second scene where Brundle climbs the outside of a building as an insect limb emerges from his side. That was cut. I don't know why. And an alternate ending in which Veronica has another dream of her unborn child, this time as a baby with beautiful butterfly wings.
That was out of left field. Can you imagine if that was the ending? I would have been very upset because that would have made absolutely zero sense.
What if there was a baboon cat? Kaboon.
I'm really trying to like envision what a baboon cat would look like. It'd be cute if it was like a caterfly. Since we want to throw butterflies in the mix, just because they're insects doesn't mean that
it was a
Brundlefly
dream.
will turn into a human butterfly. But I'd have to say human fly. It's stupid. Moving on.
A butter human. Butterman. You're a butterman than I.
I'm done with you. Anyways, Pants, on a scale of 1 to 10, hit me with your rating and your final thoughts.
I will give this movie a 7.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a great movie. It's super disturbing and super entertaining. And probably Jeff Goldblum's best performance.
Wow.
Indeed.
Interesting.
Especially because he should not ever be a leading man. But he did a pretty good job, even though he was a leading man fly.
A leading man fly.
Indeed. What about you, Tina? Give me a number.
Yeah, it's really hard. Probably like a 4.
Well, fuck you.
Like I said in the beginning, I like Jeff Goldblum, so it was kind of
entertaining. You give this the same as 2001? Or did you give that a 3?
I don't remember.
You gave Westworld a higher rating than The Fly. Fuck you, Tina.
Pants, it's a difference of opinions. We've talked about this. You need to let me speak instead of cutting me off.
No.
Anyways.
Go. What's your opinion?
Well, you don't want to hear it.
No. Nobody does except you. Quit hitting the table.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Pants, you really make me feel like I don't have any right to freaking talk. Jackass. No. I am giving this movie a 4 because I do like Jeff Goldblum, and like I said, the beginning was fine, but I can understand why this is ranked higher for you because you don't have a problem with watching grotesque things. I don't like that.
I do sit across the table from you every week.
I hate you. I have never wanted you to get another co-host so bad in my life. You're such an ass. I drive 45 minutes every week to come see you.
Thank you.
And you want to be a complete ass. It's almost an hour of my life, not to mention the time that I'm actually here. Jesus. Okay, if you're going to let me talk, then I'm going to finish my statement. You like grotesque things. I don't like grotesque things. This had a lot of it in it. Gross. 4.
Gosh, so salty today.
Do not talk to me about salty, because last week you could barely talk about this movie.
Yeah, it was very hard to edit the Westworld. I did that today. I was like, this is so boring.
You need to stop giving us movies that are shit, man.
You picked Westworld.
You had it on the list. That's what we should name this podcast. Pence. What the fuck is Pence making me watch?
Yeah, well, you're welcome. You wouldn't have watched any of these had it not been for me. And now you can say
1,000% true.
Now you can say you have.
Yeah. Wow, I love expanding my vocabulary. Anyways.
It's not vocabulary. It's just more like the movies you've watched. You should, as I told you in a text message, David Cronenberg's son.
I told you I saw the trailer and it looked interesting.
Yeah, made a movie called Possessor in 2020, and it's also very disturbing.
Is it gross like this?
Not like this, but yeah. That movie is fucked up.
Because the trailer didn't have anything to lead me to believe that it's
up.
Okay.
Did you see the cover art for it?
No.
I'll show you. It's a lot. Anyway, next week we will be covering Army of Darkness for 90s Week.
Hell yeah.
Which is the third installment of the Evil Dead franchise.
I would like to say that I am incredibly excited to finally watch a movie that I know that I'm going to be excited to talk about. We haven't had that in a while.
You didn't like Evil Dead.
Well, you're welcome. That was the whole point of you starting this podcast, and you won me over. And I love Bruce Campbell, and let's bring it on. I'm so excited.
Right. You'll be saying the same thing about The Fly soon.
Oh my god, we're done with The Fly. What do you mean?
We're done with Evil Dead as well. Maybe when we watch The Fly too.
No, hell no.
Whatever.
Anyway,
you can find us every week on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of the popular podcasting platforms. Be sure you rate and review us on Apple Podcasts.
What is with the process?
Yeah, that helps people find us on Apple Podcasts.
Indeed.
So, yeah, do that. Give us little stars. Little words. Yeah, little stairs.
Stairs.
I love a good stare.
Mm-hmm.
Stare.
You can also follow us on Twitter at... So hard. I don't know. I have speech problems.
I bet I'm
anyways, you can also follow us on Twitter at WTFDidIWatchPod. If you have Instagram, you can follow us at WTFDidIJustWatchPod. And feel free to email us. We do have an email. It's WTFDidIJustWatchPod@gmail.com. And I know that it gets kind of confusing because we have a couple different handles. But you know what? I have faith. You guys are smart. You'll find us.
Yep. Tell your friends.
Tell all your friends.
Yeah.
And tell them to tell their friends.
Yeah. We need more listeners.
And the mailman.
Sure. He can listen to it on his route.
Yeah.
We have a back catalog for days.
Back catalog for days.
Yeah. Great. So, yeah. See you next week, guys. With Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
It's gonna be groovy.
Groovy.